Hello everyone and welcome to Con the Motion podcast where we will be doing our third episode and our special guest of the day is none other than our main host Yavor Ivanov.
Hello everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show.
Today we will be talking about his personal experiences in the army, we'll be asking him about his fond memories in the army and overall his opinion and what experiences he's had in general. So, Yavor Ivanov, today I'll be taking the lead and hopefully we'll make a good episode today.
In our own show and you're the main host, so I'm looking forward for your questions.
Alright, the first question is, what age did you go to the army?
I joined the army when I was 18 years of age. That was compulsory at the time in Bulgaria. So everybody has to do the service for a year and a half. But before my time, it was more than 2 years. 2 years, but usually it lasts longer than 2 years. And as the time progressed and went further, the time you'd have to serve in the army was shortened. And finally, Bulgarian army became, if I'm not mistaken, 2001 or 2002 professional. And that wasn't anymore prescription to join the army.
Okay, and what was the first thought or maybe emotions that you went through as you knew that the time was nearing to join? Maybe when you're 17 and a half and you know that in a few months' time you're going to a totally new environment where it's going to be tough, especially throughout those times as well. What was going through your head before you went in there? Because there's a difference between joining a new school and going to a place like the army.
Yeah, that's right. I guess like most of the young man that time and nowadays it's fear, different types of fear, because you hear these stories about abuse, all sorts of abuse, and also you're asking yourself, would I be fit enough for that? And hopefully won't break a war, and you'll be part of it, even though you will defend your country, of course. That's why you're going to be trained. So I would say there were a lot of different types of fears going through my head.
Okay, and now to start it off on a more positive note, what would be your best memory? What would be a memory that even with other army members or friends that you have made there, what would be that memory where even nowadays when you think about it, you chuckle or be like, yeah, that was a fun time maybe to be there?
There were so many moments that I don't know, but how it's memorized in your head, but they just stick in your head. And most of the people I spoke as well, they have the same experience with when it comes to memory about army. You kind of your mind works funny in a funny way that, and maybe that's a natural protection. You kind of push the bad memories behind, and always in your head it's come up the positive one, the joking ones. I remember we were many, but one of them was just a week to be discharged and finish our duty to the state, of Bulgarian state and fatherland, if you like. We were drinking in one of the rooms, 6 or 7 guys of us, and we were getting a bit drunk. And one was decides that he is going home. He won't wait another week. He's had enough, and he's going home. And we tried to persuade him, listen, please stay here, if you leave now army, you'll be arrested with the military police, maybe you have to serve even longer. So we tried all night, but finally we couldn't convince him, and he left. And he was living like 50 or 100 kilometers away from the air base. I was, by the way, in the Air Forces as a soldier, in air base the Brusovci, which is closed now, it doesn't exist anymore. Then he left, and we thought, he reached some village or sitting near to our air base. But by the way, in the morning we wake up, we saw him just in the garden in front of our building, and it was snow, and because of his body heat, the snow around him was melted, and he was sleeping there. So he didn't get far. He just walked literally 5 steps from the main door. So there were a lot of funny memories, funny nicknames we had. I had as well one, maybe we can talk about, if you like, later about that. And there is many fun memories, but we won't have time to talk about all of them.
Yeah. And also, what was the most difficult thing that happened in the army, or the most difficult part about it? Was it the discipline? Was it possibly your roommates or the actual people in the army that made it tough? Or what made the army the toughest for you?
For me, first we start with the physical, sometimes physical exercises and building your strength, because I was very skinny. I was only 58 kilograms, really skinny. Here is my military passport when I joined. Every barracks had a number. The number of my barrack was my memory is here. Is it 32,010? Here it's when I joined, 18 years of age, and we had a passports at the time. They would take our passport and give me military passport, so you can leave the country. And this is your identification document. The most difficult with the physical strength to run 5-10 kilometers every day, I find it hard. In the end, it was okay, but then also sometimes you have to run with a gas mask, which I find it all of us very difficult. Secondly, it was difficult sometimes when you have how they call it in America, douchebags. We had these sorts of people. I had to stand for myself a few times because they want to take my badge or whatever. And if you don't stand for yourself, then they think you're soft and they will go all over you. I fought 2 or 3 times. I lost the fights, but I won respect, if you want what I mean. And the third, maybe the most difficult part, it was that the mental state, because when you are there, you can feel only when you're in the army this kind of depressed feeling that you're thinking, year and a half, I have to be behind these walls. They weren't walls, but fences on the airbase.
Yeah.
And you're saying to yourself, this is a year and a half. And when you're inside, year and a half, it feels like a century.
Yeah.
And I was depressed, and I said, my God, how are you going to survive? And also the physical abuse.
Yeah. And how did you deal with it? All of those things, because it's all those, some smaller, some bigger factors that all play in to make it that much tougher. How did you manage to, was it slowly adapting to the circumstances? And as you said, you had your experiences with fights, which led up to respect, which once you're in respect, I'm going to suppose it becomes slightly easier. So how did you pick out each problem or thing that made it tough for you and deal with it?
When I stand for myself, how I said, I lost the fights. I had bruises in my face, but I won respect and they wouldn't do it again, and so that's kind of stop. Physical strength, you build it as on daily basis. When you run every day 5-10 kilometers, finally your body starts to adapt and build up. Here we will go maybe to religion, but how I deal with the mental state, it was that I was so depressed and feeling down, and was one guy who was evangelist, and he was giving little Bibles, and I said, can you give me a Bible as well? I spoke with a lot of times with a lot of my friends are atheists, a lot of are great believers, but the atheist said, Yavor, the Bible will help you because you said to your mind it will help you. I argue that, I don't know what it is, but he brought me one Bible, gave it me as a gift, give it to me as a gift, and I start to read it, and with every page, to me it's a miracle. With every page I read, I start to feel lighter. I start to see the things from the brighter angle, and really reading the Bible, start to believing more in God. It did help me a lot. With the abuse of the senior soldiers, was crossed my mind when I was on duty already, because after 45 days training they give you can do armed duties. I had a Kalashnikov with 2 magazines of each 30 bullets. It crossed my mind to walk into the place they sleep and kill them all, because the abuse was terrible, beating up every day. But I said to myself, okay, I can do that and it will be a great revenge, but then I will go to jail for a long time, and in the end of the day they're human beings and it's not right things to do. Yeah. So I try to stop myself and saying, listen, that won't be forever. Will come time that will end it.
Yeah, and you could also see that, luckily for you, you had that consciousness at the back of your mind, if I do this, it's not going to be worth it in the long run. I'll gain that short-term satisfaction, but it won't lead to anything else
No.
after. But do you think that because some people might, maybe sometimes, I'm not disregarding your experiences, but have it even worse, and sometimes that consciousness won't be there, and maybe there are scenarios like that have occurred in the army.
Yeah, one junior soldier, I was already kind of on the middle, not senior but not junior soldier. He got fed up with them. He walked into the bedroom and he started to shoot under the bed. And really they were, softly say, very, very frightened. And they didn't never mess with him. Yeah, he was sent to another barracks, check his mental health and all that. I think luckily he didn't go to jail, I don't think. But
Yeah.
that's how we deal. He just frightened them and nobody would touch him again.
Yeah.
That I swallow it. So everybody develop and create or see different strategies and use them to survive. Unfortunately, one lovely guy committed suicide because they wouldn't let him go home because his girlfriend wrote a letter. It wasn't like nowadays you have smartphones and you can text and go anybody and anytime. And they didn't let him to go home for 24 hours. And he was his first armed duty. He put the Kalashnikov in his head and he shot himself.
Okay.
Thank God I wasn't there to see brain everywhere and to be killed. A guy that I trained 45 days, which he was a lovely guy. In different circumstances, I'm sure he wouldn't do it. If he was living today, 20 years later, he would turn and say, Jesus, I wouldn't kill myself for a girl. There's so many girls, but when you're young, your mind is different, you have less experience, and you see the life in the things from different angle.
Yeah. And do you believe that the army life changed you with all that you've seen and experienced?
Definitely, I think it did because I learned to be more independent. I learned that when you're hungry, you can eat bread with mole, which has happened to me. And believe me, it tastes lovely because when you're hungry, anything tastes lovely. And toughen me up, teach me how to deal with more difficult situations with people, with more people around me. Because in our unit there were 90 people, so you're on daily basis more or less in contact with 90 people, sleeping with 90 people. So definitely army maybe toughen me up or prepare me for life better,
Yeah. And following up on that question, maybe as you said, you were affected by it, but would you have seen maybe friends or people that you met from the start and you saw that the army life affected them in another way, where you'd see personality changes and how their character developed as well as with you? Would you see?
Yeah, even now I have physical, maybe mental scars as well, because even my back is all with scars, but that's affect more your sometimes mental health. Yes, I saw it, how maybe I did as well, but sometimes you can't see yourself, the others can see it. I saw almost all people I joined the army. After a year and a half, they were different people. Some were more mad, some become more close to themselves, they stopped talking that much. The other went opposite, chatting more. One was playing poker all the time. I don't know if before army he did it, and he was all the time arrested because he'd
gamble
and wouldn't follow the rules. And his nickname was Charlie, very interesting and funny character. And I spent a little bit in the arrest with him. So definitely I saw army life change people.
Yeah, and another usual thing that we might even see in movies, or is it a myth? No, I guess you answer it. Did you have a nickname where...
Yeah, we almost say roughly 90% of us had a nickname. I had a nickname, Zax. It's go after one robot with big eyes because I have big eyes. One senior soldier as well was Zax senior. I was Zax junior from one American film for children and teenagers. It's called Benji, Zax and the Space Prince, and Zax was the robot with the big eyes, and Benji was the dog, and then the other one, of course, the Space Prince. And we have Pompeii the sailor because his arms were big. We had Charlie. I don't know why they call him Charlie. Probably some gambling film or something.
Yeah.
We almost all had nicknames, and kind of suits us,
Yeah. And maybe to see where the nickname originated from, you could see how...
Here is in the training period, in the first 45 days, I lost about 7 or 8, maybe 10 kilos. I was skinny, but I became more skinnier because I wasn't used to the so lovely food there. But in the end, I started here when I took oath to the Bulgarian state and become now a soldier that I can do armed duties and fully responsible by the law and the constitution of Bulgaria.
Yeah, and you could even see a massive difference in the photos, not only just because of the age, but you look totally different there when it comes to your weight and the way you look. I can see where the nickname came from. And what sector of the army were you in? Like Air Forces or...
Year and a half when I have to do the prescription. When I was conscripted, I have to do in the Air Force a year and a half in the air base, the Brusovsky, which is closed now. And then after a year, maybe longer, I rejoined army. But this time I rejoined as a junior sergeant in the transport army, which ceased to exist 2002. Before I left it, and short afterwards, it stopped to exist because the Bulgarian state tried to shrink the number of the Bulgarian army and close a lot of units and different branches of the army, trying to save money. So I was a year and a half in the Air Forces and 3 years and 7 months as a junior sergeant, promoted as a sergeant in the transport army.
Okay, and how long in total were you in the army? As I know that you had that time where you were forced to go into the army, you were obligated to do it, but then didn't you have a period where you returned for a few more years as well?
Yeah, that's the top period I was talking about. I went, I was discharged. I did my the time I had to do, and then the jobs I worked, I wasn't satisfied, and come up opportunity to join the transport army. So I rejoined as the positions for junior sergeant. So I was promoted, and the rest of the security unit, junior sergeant. And after 2 years, we were promoted to sergeant. So I spent in the transport army 3 years and 7 months. So altogether, I have in army. I served in army 5 years and 1 month, if you have to be exact.
And the senior sergeant rank is the highest rank that you reached there. Wow.
Yeah, that was highest, and then I resigned.
Okay. And before I reach one of our final questions, would you have any stories where you used any weapons or any certain experiences? Because I'm sure the people watching here associate army with guns and weaponry. And would you have any such experience that you would obviously be able to share?
Well, the first time when they were training us to throw grenades, there are 2 types of grenades. One is attacking, the other is defending grenades. I don't know if the sergeant and the officer who were taking care of us one by one throwing grenades and they put me down, but in our jacket, he stuck in my jacket a little metal piece, and they said, "Look at you, you didn't throw it too far." I don't know if they were trying to scare me, but they were very serious and angry. Probably I did. Also, once I have to shoot 2 people because with another guy who is the senior Zaks, actually it's happened that 2 of Zakses were in that situation. They were stealing petrol and we had to shoot. Thank God they were too far. There was night, in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock and midnight, and we didn't even injure them. And it was a stressful situation because I thought if I kill them or disable them, because we all know that Kalashnikov is very powerful machine gun. I was thinking quickly in my head, can I live with that?
Yeah.
But thank God I didn't injure or kill them. So yeah, I had a funny and stressful experience with weapons. And also when somebody is discharged, we had a big machine guns, which I don't know, couple of maybe 30 kilos heavy, and one senior soldier was discharged, and they have to give to somebody this weapon, machine gun with the big bullets. And I said to the sergeant, "Why me?" I said, "I'm lighter than this gun.
Yeah.
No, I can't carry it if it's a war." He said, "I have to put somebody, in charge of that gun." It was locked away, and I never used it, but thank God, because if I have to use it, I will fall down, you know. We did, you know, instead of shooting the enemy, I will fall down with the gun. My own gun will drop me to the ground.
And as a sergeant, when you reach that rank and that position, how many people were you in charge of? Because you trained some, but in total, how many were you
They
in
will
charge
put us
of?
sometimes in charge in a little barracks when most of our duty is sergeant. This is the security unit, and we spent serving Ministry of Transport, and then they will merge with the Transport of Communication. So when sometimes they will send us to the barracks and to mine soldiers. So about 90 soldiers we were in charge. And after 5 o'clock, it's only usually you, the one in duty 24 hours in the barracks, is in charge of the barracks, and you're the one dealing from 5 to next morning. You're the only really in charge in the whole barracks. A small barracks, but 90 soldiers,
Yeah. And do you regret to this day returning back to the army, obviously after the period that you didn't have to do it? Do you regret anything that has happened in the past, or even the fact that you returned to the army after a year or two, after you didn't find any jobs that satisfied you? Do you regret it, those additional 3 years that you done, 3 years and 7 months?
No, I don't regret it, because I met nice people there, and some of them become my friends. And it was a good experience, because maybe that would be a different topic to talk about it, but I saw serving in the army, in the ministry, the corruption there, and as well opened my eyes that Bulgarian state is going in a bad way. And unfortunately, 22 years later, we can say that my predictions were right. So no, I don't have any regrets, because again, it was a job. It was an interesting job. I met a lot of interesting people in the ministry. I met famous people. Not that I look for famous people, but you could talk to them, see how they feel, how they look at the world, how they act in different situations. And no, I don't have any regrets. But in the same time, I don't think I could have stayed any longer, because I want to leave Bulgaria.
Yeah, okay. And nowadays, 20 odd years later, would you be communicating to anybody nowadays to when you've met them in the army, from when you've met them in the army?
Yeah, you have 1 or 2 contacts. My best man is, I met him in the army, your godfather, and the other 1 or 2 guys I keep in touch. The rest we lost contact. Really keep in touch with the ones you want to keep in touch. You know, the one who weren't that close, you don't really have much. With some in Facebook, but generally only few. The ones that were closer in army, the one nowadays I keep in touch.
Okay, well, that was our final question of the day. It was a pleasure having you here. Now it was my turn to interview you and about your personal experience in the army, and I'm sure that you've had many other chapters in life where we'll be able to post about your experiences in life, and it was a great pleasure in having you.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this interview and this interesting question. I hope the auditory as well will be interested in my experience and the questions you ask me and the answers. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody that's watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit the like button, and if you want to be notified on any other new videos, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and we'll catch you on the next one.